Today I'm going to be grading how good NBA teams will be going into the 2024-2025 season. We'll be starting off with the Wizards. So first we have finals favorites, which teams that one of the favorites to win the NBA Finals, strong contenders to win the Finals, contender, maybe playoffs, maybe not, team that will miss the playoffs, and then the worst teams. So the Wizards, they had the second worst record last year. I believe they went 15-67, something like that. Yeah, they're going to be one of the worst teams, I think. I don't think they'll be the worst team, but they're going to be one of the worst teams. Next up, the Warriors. So losing Klay Thompson, still have Steph Curry. He's still doing really good. Draymond Green, he's fine. I think the Warriors missed the playoffs because of how strong the West is going to be with all these teams. Next up, OKC, another team in the West. Honestly, I think they're a strong contender. I don't think they're finals favorites, but I think they're a strong contender to win the NBA Finals. Next up, for me, a little bit of a difficult choice here. The Suns, of course, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, except they got swept in the first round by the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to say playoffs question mark because I still think they could make the playoffs. I mean, it wasn't really working out last year. They still made the playoffs, though, but the West is going to be stronger, of course, the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they could get like an 8th seed spot, maybe the playoffs. The San Antonio Spurs. I'm pretty high on the Spurs this year. Honestly, I think between playoffs and contender, I think the Spurs are, honestly. I really believe in them with Victor Wembanyama, but, I'm just going to go put them ahead of the Suns, say maybe playoffs, because they were one of the worst teams last year. Then the 76ers. Honestly, I think I'm putting the 76ers ahead of the Thunder. If you guys don't know already, the 76ers signed Paul George, the former LA Clippers player. They also have Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. I think the 76ers do really good. I think they could maybe win the NBA Finals or at least appear, but I'll put them ahead of the Thunder. I'm going to go a little bit faster, though. Rockets. I think the Rockets, maybe playoffs, still putting them ahead of the Suns. Raptors, I think they'll be one of the worst teams, but I'm still putting them ahead of the Wizards. Pistons, they're going to be the worst team, I think. They're the worst team last year. Pelicans, I think the Pelicans just missed the playoffs. Just because of how strong the West is, I think they do. Nuggets, I think Jokic, they're going to have, they're going to want revenge. They're going to want to go back to the finals, and win. I think they're going to be strong finals favorites going into next year. Then the Nets. I think the Nets are going to be really bad. I think they'll do even worse than the Wizards, honestly. I really don't believe in the Nets. Mavericks. A lot of people might say final favorites. Except, I don't know. I don't see the Mavericks winning the finals, but I think they're a strong contender. I'll put them behind OKC. Orlando. I think they're a contender. I'm going to put them in a contender spot. I think they are. Lakers. They still have LeBron, but I think I'd still put the Suns, ahead of the Lakers. I'm going to say the Lakers do miss the playoffs, but I'm putting them ahead of the Pelicans and the Warriors. The Knicks. I think you could put them in either contender or strong contender. I think I'm going to go with contender ahead of the Magic. The Kings. I think the Kings playoffs question mark spot. Putting them ahead of the Spurs. Because, remember the Kings 2 seasons ago, they got 3rd place in the West, weren't really good this year, just didn't make the playoffs, but I believe in them this year, with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. Those are the guys. Jazz, missed the playoffs, so I'm going to put them Still ahead of worst teams, but behind the Warriors. Hornets, I think they, with a healthy LaMelo, I think that puts them, in front of the Jazz, I'm going to say, in case the Jazz lose Markkanen. Heat, Butler, the rumors of him leaving, doesn't look like he is, but, I'm going to say playoffs question mark behind the Suns. Of course, people might be saying Pelicans, Lakers, even maybe Warriors are going to be better than the Heat. But, yeah, they could be, but, just how stacked the West is going to be, I don't know. Next up, the Hawks. The Hawks just had the first pick in the draft, so I'm going to put them playoffs question mark. I'll put them right behind the Rockets. Grizzlies, I really believe in the Grizzlies this year. And I'm going to put the Grizzlies ahead of the Knicks. Some people aren't going to like that, but I think that's what it is. Celtics, they're another finals favorite. Do I put them over the Nuggets? I don't think I do. But yeah, they're a finals favorite. Cleveland. I'm going to put Cleveland in front of the Heat and behind the Suns. The Bulls, I think the Bulls are missing the playoffs. Gonna put the Bulls right here, right behind the Warriors. Bucks, I think the Bucks are a contender behind the Magic. Trailblazers, they're gonna be one of the worst teams, but I'm putting them ahead of the Raptors. Pacers, I think the Pacers, honestly, are a strong contender, and I'm putting them ahead of the Mavericks. I really like the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, Clippers, they're just falling apart as a team. I'm going to say they missed the playoffs, but they're ahead of the Lakers. Timberwolves, my favorite team. I think they are a finals favorite going in the next year. For right now, I guess we'll put them behind the Celtics, but yeah, there you go. This is where I put the teams.